And today we're going to be taking a look at the new free-to-play SR All Might, and he is a very good unit to have, not only on Mono Blue, but just in general, because his stats is pretty high for an SR. He is probably comparable to some of the URs in the game, and also he can output pretty high damage numbers as well when utilized correctly. So before we go ahead and get into it though, let's go ahead and take a look at what he actually does. Check out the wiki page down in the description down below. I am building it to the best of my ability, so you guys can have all of the information right here at your fingertips. But everything on the wiki page for his abilities is at his minimum, so everything is going to be non-ability boost, non-limit broken, or anything like that. So just keep that in mind, that all of these numbers here on the wiki for the percentages and stuff are basically at his bare minimum. So the free-to-play SR All Might, he is obtainable for free, like I mentioned, from the 1A event that is currently active. I do have a guide if you guys want to check out the guide in the description down below, in which you can actually get that All Might, get his shards and everything like that for free. So make sure you guys check out the guide on how to actually do that. So first of all, he is an SR, like I mentioned. He is level 70 out of 90 when you first get him, and then when you limit break him, his maximum level goes up to 90, which means his stats increase, his levels for a lot of his abilities do increase, and also for his panels in his main ability board, you can also increase the levels of your potential, of your action skills, as well as your auto skills and stuff like that. So let's go over what he does. His plus ultra attack is Texas Smash. His 450% damage to a single enemy, deal an additional 30% damage if enemy has a critical rate debuff. And then his first action skill, which is Oklahoma Smash, 200% damage to a single enemy, deal an additional 30% damage if enemy has a speed debuff, which will cool down to 5 turns. And then his next action skill, Carolina Smash, 200% damage to a single enemy, deal an additional 30% if enemy has a power debuff. And then his first auto skill, which is kind of like a passive, remaining embers, decrease power and speed by 3% every turn up to 30%. So he will start to lose his speed and power over time as you go on in the events and stuff like that. So he is going to be doing very good numbers at the very beginning, but as you kind of go down, he's going to lose up to about 30% of his power and speed, which is kind of unfortunate, but I think he still can do very decent numbers even after that decrease. So we're going to take a look at that here in a second though. His second auto skill is when HP is 50% or less, increase own plus ultra gauge by 30% once only. So he's going to get that extra plus ultra gauge buff once his health does fall below 50%. So that's going to be really cool indeed as well. Some units that you could also run him along, and one thing to note is this ability in his plus ultra attack. Increase his additional damage by 30% if enemy has a critical rate debuff. There are a couple units I believe in the game that do that, but there is one unit that fits with him perfectly on his team, on his Mono Blue team at that, and that is going to be the new Air Force Deku, who actually is in the game as well, because Air Force Deku, along with 600% damage to a single enemy, his plus ultra decreases enemy critical rate by 25%. So he is going to go hand in hand with this new All Might. Also, a good thing to note is that, you know, blue teams right now, the Mono Blue has very good synergy with a lot of its units. Like we got the All Might, we got the Deku, we got Bakugo, we also got this Bakugo here, which also does give you a little bit of a speed decrease and also does decrease enemy critical rate as well with his plus ultra. So he's a definitely viable unit, so to speak, if you definitely want to throw him on the team with All Might, just because of that critical rate with his plus ultra. He does decrease speed and stuff, so you know that's one to look at as well if you want to check out this Bakugo alongside the All Might, if you don't happen to have Air Force Deku for that critical rate, because that plus ultra with Air Force Deku is going to go hand in hand with All Might's plus ultra at the same time. So you're going to want to get off that critical rate debuff with either this Deku or this Bakugo. That's another one that you could, like I said, use if you don't have Deku, and then utilize that with this All Might. It's going to be super fantastic. So as you can see, my All Might, he is level 90 out of 90, and I do have his limit break board fully done. I don't have his main ability board done. There are 9 pages of this, so there's quite a bit to go. So this is going to take a while, especially because the game just came out. This is going to take a little bit of time to actually utilize and do and get all the materials for that. So I did go up to at least page 4 and stuff, so I could actually utilize his awakening and stuff like that. So that does give me that as well. Also, like I mentioned on the wiki, it does list the bare minimum of the abilities. So if you look at mine, my plus ultra is 450%, 35%, but then also I have level 2s on some of my other abilities that actually increase the damage rate and the percentage as well that those effects are going to be carrying. So that's 225% damage and 35% debuff. And then I think that one went from, no, that one's still the same. So the first auto skill doesn't actually do anything, but then this one, the second auto skill actually increased to 40% from 30%. So, you know, as you do his potential system, or the ability board as it's called, there is a guide for the ability board in the description down below if you want to check that out. But the way you utilize the ability boards is pretty much, it does give you increased stats or increased percentages or anything like that to your abilities as you increase them using the ability board. So that's also something to consider with this All Might. So let's go ahead and take him into an event and see what he can do. All right, so we are going to take on the red stage of the USJ, only level 2, just because I have been able to actually do level 3 and above with a 3-star, but I don't want to actually like have a super difficult time. But this should be a decent stage to actually show off this All Might. Quickly, my team, I am using the free-to-play memory that you can get from the event with All Might. That does work rather well with him. Also, I am using the Deku and his new memory for the Air Force Deku. I'm using Momo, who's giving a power buff to all blue type allies. And then my sub team, I just threw a couple on there that could help me out if I actually do need the help, right? So again, this is the free-to-play memory that I do believe is from the event, if I'm not mistaken. This one, you can actually get the memory fully maxed out, and also as you max out a memory, their buffs to the stats do increase, and also their levels do increase as well. So as you can see, mine is going to be on him for All Might, the free-to-play memory. Again, you can get that for free. So let's go ahead and take on the event and showcase this All Might, because I am very, very excited to see how well he's going to do, right? So we are going to want to basically utilize his speed debuffer. So All Might's Oklahoma Smash, so the first ability that he has is going to be dealing an additional damage if the enemy has a speed debuff. So Momo's second ability actually has a speed debuff included on it, so that's also good for All Might, while also good for Deku as well, just to keep that in mind. So we're going to do Oklahoma Smash, and then also we're going to do Deku's ability here as well. So there we go. We want to get that chain, obviously, and then boom. Yes. Oh, I did get that. Okay, good. Cool. That is doing quite a bit of damage already here. Also, let me just make sure I do turn these off, because we do want to see the plus ultra attack, right? We don't want to skip it or miss it. Momo's the way I do have this guest Momo here. What the guest Momo is going to be doing is basically giving us an extra plus ultra gauge buff to her, to our allies and stuff, because that's what her plus ultra gauge actually does. And then also his Carolina Smash isn't going to do terribly much because we don't have anyone decreasing power on our team right now. And there really isn't much of a blue unit that can really utilize power debuffing. So hopefully we get a blue unit in the future that can do power debuffs a little bit better in the future. So there we go. We got 11,000 on that one right there. So that's not terrible damage at all, especially for an SR, right? So we have Deku's plus ultra. We don't have All Might's yet. We definitely want to utilize both of them together. So I'm just going to heal with Momo just to keep us above percentage wise. We still don't have his yet. We're going to utilize that here really quickly. We should be able to get that here soon, as we know that his power is decreasing. You can also see the decreases in power if we go to this tab. Check All Might, you can see that he does have a power decrease and speed decrease right here. So there is that, we can see that. All right, so Momo, I'm not going to use her plus ultra because her plus ultra is going to increase plus ultra gauge. So I want to keep that in mind. So we're going to use Deku and All Might. I think Deku actually is way faster than All Might regardless. So you definitely want to use Deku's plus ultra first, then utilize All Might's after that. So we're going to see Deku's go off first. Man, 3 times speed is so good in this game, but 38,000 damage from him. All Might's Texas Smash. What was that? I did not even see that. It was too fast, man. I think it was maybe around 13,000-ish, I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do believe it was something along those lines, right? So we're gonna just kind of speed it down a little bit just to kind of see what we can do here. Momo getting the speed decrease, then All Might is gonna do some damage. 15k even after all that speed decrease. Deku doing 47,000. All Might, I mean, again, we're getting that speed and power debuff on All Might. He is doing still very, very good regardless of that. He's 15k. That's incredible for him. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna just do these right here, right? So let's just do those and kind of get and see if we can maybe get one more plus ultra with All Might. I kind of doubt it, but let's see what his damage is gonna be here. 11,000 on that one, still not too bad. Momo might finish it. She might, I think. 20k. Okay, she's not finishing it. Maybe. Ooh, All Might actually taking up the critical final finish right there. There we go, man. This All Might, again, like I said, is pretty good. As you can tell, his numbers were still pretty decent as he was losing his power and speed as we kept going, right? So that was really, really good for him. Again, utilizing him with Deku is probably his best partner for his team. But again, as I mentioned, there is a Bakugo that you could run with him. The blue, was it the blue cooking together Katsuki Bakugo, because that Bakugo does decrease critical rate on his plus ultra. He also does decrease speed on one of his abilities, the AP shot. So you can actually see that here, that this Bakugo does in fact decrease speed. He also, this Bakugo, I just noticed this and I didn't realize this, but this blue Bakugo, this cooking one, decreases enemy speed by 15% and decreases enemy critical rate by 15% at the start of the wave, or basically at the start of the battle pretty much. So utilizing that, this Bakugo definitely could also be a decent pairing. He is an SR. It's pretty, I think he's decently obtainable. You can summon for him on the current banners that are live right now. But this Bakugo definitely is going to be an obtainable unit to actually run with this All Might, because he's going to get that speed decrease for his Oklahoma, that critical rate debuff for his plus ultra, getting that extra 30% damage. Again, the wiki shows at bare minimum, by the way. But yes, so if All Might did actually fall below that 50%, we would have gotten that plus ultra gauge increase. So that's why it did take a smidge bit longer for us. But I mean, he still was taking hits pretty well for even an SR, right? So again, that is going to be the All Might showcase. Is this unit worth it? Is this unit actually worth grinding out to obtain from that free-to-play event? I would have to say 1,000,000% yes, because again, this guy, he is going to be probably, like I said, comparable to some of the lower tier UR units on damage output, and not only that, but his stats. At an SR, he has some very, very good abilities. Again, they were kind of cheeky. They did make this All Might kind of run with the new Deku in a way, but also, like I said, he does work with other units as well. But I think they were being a little cheeky, you know, like every game does. You know, it's not new to gotchas or anything like that. They do happen to do this on occasion to most gotcha, right? So, you know, again, him working with Air Force Deku, probably being one of his best partners, is not, you know, not just a coincidence. They probably thought about that when making this unit. And also they did come out at the same time, right? So kind of, you know, they work hand in hand a little bit. So definitely worth farming this All Might if you happen to check out the guide. Again, link in the description down below for that. Again, this All Might is pretty good. My All Might isn't even done. His ability board isn't even finished. I cannot wait to see what other damage he's going to be doing once I finish his page 9 of his ability board. I can imagine those stats right here are going to just go woo, right up, man. And those damage output numbers are going to go right up as well. But this is a showcase. I mean, like I said, even though he's not done, this unit is definitely worth picking up, definitely worth having on your team. I think Mono Blue right now is probably the best team in the game currently because of this All Might, because of Air Force Deku, because of Bakugo, Momo, everything like that. But I will have showcases on Air Force Deku, Momo, everything like that coming up in the future, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Click that bell, turn on notifications if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic day.